3 weeks clean. No gambling. No betting apps. No casino websites. Nothing. For the first time in months, maybe years, life finally feels normal again. The panic is gone. The debt stopped growing. You tell yourself, I'm done. Then one random Tuesday, your phone buzzes. We miss you. $250 bonus waiting. VIP reward unlocked. And somehow, you gamble again. First just a little, $20, then $50, then one bad loss becomes another. And before you realize what happened, you're right back where you started. Now here's the terrifying question. Was that message random? Or did the casino already know you were about to relapse? Because modern casinos do not just take bets anymore. They track behavior, study habits, watch patterns, and according to gambling researchers and investigations, many gambling companies now know far more about players than most people realize. Sometimes, more than the player knows about themselves. Today, we're breaking down the dark truth about how casinos predict gambling behavior, why recovering gamblers are especially vulnerable, and the psychology tricks designed to pull people back in. And trust me, the deeper you go into this story, the darker it gets. Before we begin, comment one thing. How long do you think you could stay away from gambling if someone offered you free money? Because by the end of this video, you may think very differently about that question. Most people think quitting gambling is simple. Delete the app, block the website, move on. But casinos do not think like normal businesses. Because casinos do not see players. They see patterns. Imagine this. You sign up for a gambling platform. Seems harmless. Name, email, payment method, birthday. Nothing unusual. But behind the scenes, the system quietly starts building a profile on you. What games you like, how long you play, how fast you bet, what time you gamble, how much losing you tolerate, whether you quit after losses or chase them, and slowly, the casino learns something dangerous. Who you are when you are emotional. Because gambling behavior changes depending on mood. Happy gamblers act differently. Angry gamblers act differently. Desperate gamblers? Completely different. And casinos can often see those changes before players realize them themselves. But here's where this gets uncomfortable. Because they are not only tracking spending. They may be tracking vulnerability. Let me ask you something. What happens after someone quits gambling? Usually the same thing. Week 1, motivated, confident, hopeful. Week 2, still okay. Week 3, bored, curious, maybe stressed. And suddenly, they just want to check. Not gamble, just check odds. Maybe open the app, maybe look around. No big deal. Except, that tiny moment is one of the biggest relapse warning signs. And gambling systems know this. Researchers studying gambling behavior found certain patterns often happen before relapse. Things like coming back after long inactivity, checking odds late at night, small deposits after emotional losses, increasing bet sizes, repeated failed withdrawals, quick redeposits. Think about that. You may think, I'm making random decisions, but to an algorithm, you are becoming predictable, because addiction leaves fingerprints, and modern gambling systems are very good at spotting them. But prediction alone is not the scary part, because once casinos think you may return, something else begins, and this next part feels almost manipulative. Ever notice how gambling promotions always arrive at strange times? You stop gambling for a while, then suddenly, exclusive VIP reward, free spins waiting, deposit bonus expires tonight. Convenient timing, almost too convenient. Now to be fair, not every promotion is targeted manipulation. But many gambling companies increasingly use behavioral marketing. Meaning, your activity influences what you see. Imagine 2 people. Person 1 gambles casually once a month. Person 2 used to gamble heavily, then suddenly disappears. Who do you think gets the bigger offer? Exactly, the person most likely to come back. And this is where recovering gamblers often get trapped. Because relapse rarely starts dramatically. Nobody wakes up and says, Today I ruin my life. Start small. A free bonus. Quick session. Tiny deposit. Then the brain starts remembering the sounds, the excitement, the rush, and suddenly the part of your brain that wanted recovery starts getting quiet. But casinos are not only using bonuses, because there is another trick that may be even more powerful. And once you notice it, you cannot unsee it. Imagine this. You spin a slot machine. 2 jackpot symbols line up. The third almost lands. So close. You lose. But weirdly, you feel excited. Why? Because your brain reacted almost like you won. This is called a near miss. And near misses are incredibly powerful psychologically, because they create hope. Hope keeps people gambling. You think, I was so close. The machine is heating up. Next one has to hit. But mathematically, nothing changed. The odds are still the odds. Yet emotionally, you feel momentum. Online casinos take this to another level. Lights, sounds, celebration graphics. Even tiny wins feel huge. Bet $20. Win back $4. Still fireworks. Still excitement. Still dopamine. Why? Because gambling companies understand something important. People do not remember math. They remember emotion. And once emotion takes over, logic usually leaves the room. But if near misses hook people emotionally, what happens when casinos combine psychology with personal data? That is where things get seriously uncomfortable. Here's something most gamblers never think about. Online casinos are watching patterns constantly. Not through hidden cameras. Through data. Every click matters. How long you stare at games. How quickly you deposit. Whether you gamble after midnight. Whether you increase bets after losses. Whether you chase. And chasing losses? That is one of the biggest warning signs in gambling addiction. Example, someone loses $50, then bets $100, loses again, then deposits $300. Emotion takes control. This is called loss chasing, and it happens constantly. Now here's the scary thought. If a system notices someone chasing losses repeatedly, it may already know that person is vulnerable. Again, not mind reading, patterns, and patterns become predictions. Think about social media. TikTok knows what videos keep you scrolling. Netflix predicts what you'll watch. Spotify predicts songs you like. So ask yourself, why wouldn't gambling companies predict behavior too? Especially when prediction means profit. But there is one system that might be the most dangerous of all, because it tricks recovering gamblers into believing they are winning, even when they are losing. Have you ever heard someone say, I'm Platinum VIP. Sounds impressive, exclusive, elite, successful. That is exactly the point. Casinos created loyalty systems that feel like achievement, but often, they are retention systems. Think about it. You gamble more, you unlock status, cashback, special treatment, free offers, VIP managers. Suddenly gambling feels important, like progress, like identity. Then imagine trying to quit. You are almost at the next level. You already invested time, money, energy. Walking away suddenly feels like losing progress. Psychologists call this loss aversion. Humans hate losing progress more than they enjoy gaining rewards. So people stay, not because gambling feels good anymore, but because leaving feels worse. And if you think that sounds manipulative, wait until we talk about relapse itself. Because most people completely misunderstand how it happens. People imagine relapse looks dramatic. Rock bottom, huge emotional breakdown, life collapse. Usually, it looks boring. Stress after work, fight with partner, loneliness, boredom, late night scrolling. Then one dangerous thought, I can handle it now. That sentence has destroyed countless recoveries. Because addiction loves confidence. Confidence lowers defenses. And suddenly, just one bet, just one game, just one spin, then something dangerous happens. The brain remembers. Dopamine wakes back up. And the same patterns restart. This is why recovering gamblers often say, The hardest part wasn't quitting. It was staying quit, because temptation never fully disappears, especially online. Which brings us to maybe the darkest truth of this entire story. The casino does not need you forever. It only needs you one more time. Here's something uncomfortable. Casinos do not make money from people who stop gambling. They make money from engagement. More sessions, more deposits, more time playing. And relapse? Relapse often means renewed spending. Again, not every gambling company acts irresponsibly. Many legal operators now include deposit limits, cooling off periods, self-exclusion tools, responsible gambling warnings. But critics and investigations have repeatedly questioned whether some operators did enough to protect vulnerable users, especially high spenders, especially emotional gamblers, especially people clearly showing addiction patterns. And that raises a difficult question. If a company can predict risky behavior, what responsibility do they have? Protect the player or maximize profit? That debate is happening right now across multiple countries. But for the gambler, the answer feels personal, because addiction does not care about regulation. It only cares about access, and online casinos never close. The biggest advantage casinos ever had was never luck, never odds, never math. It was patience. Because casinos understand something terrifying. Most people do not quit forever. They quit temporarily, until stress, until boredom, until loneliness, until one weak moment. And sometimes, modern systems can spot those moments coming. Not because they know your thoughts, but because behavior repeats itself. Patterns repeat, habits repeat, relapse leaves clues. Which means the real question is not, can casinos predict relapse? The better question is, what happens when they already can? And if you made it this far, comment, no more odds, because understanding the game might be the first step toward finally escaping it.